Mick Jagger has been the king of the stage for more than 60 years. His swagger and intensity have changed what it means to be a rock star, from the Rolling Stones' gritty beginnings to their stadium-filling global tours. Jagger's impact goes far beyond the music charts, but it's not only because he was a rebel. Behind the character and amazing performances is a complicated life full of fame, too much fame, personal tragedy, and amazing strength. His career is a roller coaster of famous events and hidden challenges. Are you ready to plunge into the untold story of Mick Jagger? Mick Jagger wasn't born a rock star. He grew up in the little town of Dartford, Kent, where his father was a gymnastics teacher and his mother was a hairdresser who was interested in conservative politics. Mick found his voice in the church choir, on the crackling radio, and in front of the flickering TV screen, where he listened to the sound. In 1950, when he was in primary school, he met Keith Richards, and they became friends right away. But as life often does, their paths diverged for a while. In 1954, the Jaggers moved to Wilmington, and Mick focused on the 11+ exams, which got him into Dartford Grammar School. Even while he was studying, the power of music his teenage years were never dull. He and his friend Dick started a garage band. Taylor and the others delved into the raw, thrilling sounds of Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, and more. Than in 1961, fate got in the way on the platform. 2 of Dartford train station, a chance meeting with Richards where Jagger's records by Chuck Berry and Muddy Waters fanned a blaze of recognition that brought back their love of rhythm and blues, and their creative connection was renewed. Richard and Taylor often stayed over at Jagger's place, turned his house into a music hub. Adding Alan Etherington and Bob Beckwith made their group, the Blues Boys, even stronger, even though they had already passed 7 O-levels and 2 O-levels. Jagger dropped out of school in 1961. He and Richards moved into a Chelsea flat with another musician. Brian Jones started a band called the Bohemian Trio, while Jones and Richards worked on their rhythm in their blues band. Jagger, who was always practical, kept his options open. With the help of a government scholarship, he enrolled at the famed London School of Economics, where he considered a future in journalism or politics. Things moved rapidly when Brian Jones used the name Elmo Lewis began performing with Alexis Corner's band Blues Incorporated. Blues Incorporated attracted Jagger, Richards, and Jones, and finally Jagger became the charismatic lead singer. The 3 of them practiced all the time on their own, laying the groundwork for what would become the famous Rolling Stones. MC Jagger's life was about to explode, and the world of music would never be the same. Despite being a rising star, the Rolling Stones had a lot of problems in their early years. They played in a basement club across from London's Broadway tube station with little equipment and no pay. In 1962, they made their debut as the Rolling Stones at the Marquee Club, a London jazz venue. They soon changed their name to the Rolling Stones, and the band's core lineup was always changing. In 1963, Jagger, Richards, Jones, Ian Stewart on piano, Dick Taylor on bass, and Tony Chapman on drums got a residency at the Eel Pie Island Hotel. The BBC later said that this gig helped them become famous. That fall, Jagger made a big decision. He left the London School of Economics to pursue his musical dreams full-time. At first, the band did well by covering American rhythm and blues songs by legends like Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley. They even had their first 2 #1 hits in the UK with covers, but things were about to change. The band's defiance of social norms made them a target, and 1967 was a tumultuous year. Turning point, Jagger and his then-girlfriend Marianne were caught in the middle of a highly publicized drug raid at Keith Richards' country home. The discovery of illegal drugs led to charges against both Jagger and Richards. They were found guilty, but their sentences were later overturned on appeal. However, their legal problems were far from over. Jagger was once again facing arrest for having drugs when the police searched his London residence. The band's challenges weren't limited to courtroom battles. In June 1969, founding member Brian Jones departed the Stones. His escalating drug use and legal issues prevented him from obtaining a visa for the band's upcoming US tour. Less than a month later, tragedy struck. Jones was found life in his swimming pool. His death, officially ruled as death by misadventure, was caused by a deadly mix of drugs and alcohol. Shattered by the loss, the Stones forged ahead. Just 2 days later, they held a massive tribute concert in London's Hyde Park. Their original plan to introduce new guitarist Mick Taylor was overshadowed by the somber occasion. Jagger movingly read excerpts from Adin is a poem by Percy Shelley in memory of their fallen bandmate. Hundreds of white butterflies were released as a symbolic farewell, and they played one of Jones's favorite songs. The Year's Darkness wasn't over. Their planned free concert at Altamont Speedway, intended as a celebration of music and unity, took a horrific turn. Far from the idyllic Woodstock-style experience they envisioned, Altamont was a bleak, desolate landscape seething with tension from the moment the band arrived. A sense of foreboding hung in the air. Jagger was immediately punched in the face, setting a violent tone for the day. The Hells Angels, hired as security, proved to be a menacing presence rather than a peacekeeping force. Their heavy-handed tactics fueled the aggression within the crowd. As other bands took the stage, the atmosphere grew increasingly volatile, and the Hells Angels' behavior escalated from merely violent to deadly. By the time the Rolling Stones finally began their set, the crowd was unruly, and the Hells Angels were mercilessly dispensing beatings. Jagger, perhaps sensing the escalating danger, appeared subdued on stage. Expectations fell on him to use his charismatic stage presence to calm the escalating tensions. But his attempts fell short. Then, during their performance of Under My Thumb, the unthinkable happened. Meredith Hunter, an audience member, drew a gun in a shocking act of violence witnessed by the horrified band. A Hells Angel stabbed him to death. It was a chilling moment immortalized in the documentary Gimme Shelter. 4 lives were ultimately lost at Altamont, including Hunter's, leaving a permanent stain on the day. The event signaled a devastating end to the optimism of the 1960s counterculture movement. Jagger, shaken by the brutality, reflected on the tragedy. It was terrible. If Jesus had been there, he would have been crucified. The Rolling Stones were entering an era marked by darkness and uncertainty, the violence culminating in the tragic death of an audience member at the hands of the Hells Angels forced Jagger to rethink his association with the infamous motorcycle gang. His decision to sever ties, however, came at a cost. Enraged by the snub, a faction of the Hells Angels plotted a chilling act of revenge: the assassination of MC Jagger. Their elaborate plan involved a stealthy approach from the sea aimed at bypassing security at Jagger's Long Island holiday home. They intended to infiltrate the property through the largely unguarded beachfront garden. Fortune, however, was not on their side. As fate would have it, a sudden and powerful storm thwarted their deadly plot. The tumultuous waves tossed the would-be assassins overboard, and although they survived the harrowing ordeal, squashed their murderous intent. Jagger, unknowingly spared from a grim fate, remained oblivious to this attempt on his life. Decades passed before the chilling plot came to light. In 2008, in a startling revelation during a British television series, an FBI agent unveiled the spoiled assassination attempt. The news hit the papers, and one can only imagine Jagger's surprise and perhaps relief as he learned of the danger he had unknowingly escaped. Despite internal tensions, the Rolling Stones roared back to life in the 1970s. Albums like Sticky Fingers and the critically acclaimed Exile on Main Synth solidified their status as rock legends. Even the departure of guitarist Mick Taylor in 1975, replaced by the talented Ronnie Wood, couldn't dim their star power. Yet behind the scenes, a power struggle was brewing. Jagger's desire for a solo career fueled a growing rift between him and Richards. As Richards descended into the depths of addiction, Jagger seized control of the band's direction. Their once powerful bond was fraying, and it all boiled over in a public feud. In the mid-8 seconds, the Rolling Stones seemed destined to self-destruct, but they surprised everyone by reuniting in 1988, ready for a triumphant new chapter. The band's renaissance was undeniable. Their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989 served as a testament to their enduring influence. The release of Steel Wheels, their most successful album in years, was followed by a massive world tour. Their music was resonating with a new generation, and the accolades started pouring in. Bassist Bill Wyman's retirement in 1992 seemed like another potential setback, but Darryl Jones stepped in seamlessly, keeping the Stones' rhythm section tight. Their 1994 album Voodoo Lounge was a commercial and critical darling. It earned them their first Grammy Award for Best Rock Album, along with another Grammy for the music video Love Is Strong. The 2000s brought more milestones and achievements. Their albums Bridges to Babylon and A Bigger Bang were well received, even if they didn't quite reach the heights of their early classics. Then in 2006, they made Super Bowl history with a performance that lived up to their rebellious reputation. Despite pre-planned censorship, Jagger managed to push the boundaries with his electrifying presence. The Stones' 2016 concert in Havana, Cuba was a watershed moment. They played to a crowd of 500. In a country where their music had once been deemed subversive, the historic show, following on the heels of President Obama's visit, highlighted the band's cultural impact on a global scale. That same year, they released the blues-inspired album Blue and Lonesome, paying homage to their roots and earning themselves another Grammy Award in 2018. While Jagger's heart surgery in 2019 forced the tour postponement, it was clear the Rolling Stones had no intention of slowing down. With their unmatched stage presence and enduring legacy, the rock gods were poised to continue captivating audiences for years to come. While Jagger's heart surgery in 2019 forced a tour postponement, it was clear the Rolling Stones had no intention of slowing down. With their unmatched stage presence and enduring legacy, the rock gods were poised to continue captivating audiences for years to come. The relentless energy that propelled the Rolling Stones didn't confine Jagger to the band alone. In the mid-1980s, he embarked on a solo career alongside his ongoing commitments to the Stones. His debut solo album, She's the Boss, was a commercial success, achieving platinum status. However, his follow-up release, Primitive Cool, failed to resonate with audiences to the same degree. Undeterred, Jagger released another solo album, Wandering Spirit, in 1993. Despite receiving mixed reviews, it contained a collaboration with Lenny Kravitz, but it was his 1985 duet with David Bowie, Dancing in the Streets, that solidified Jagger's presence outside the Rolling Stones. The single rocketed to the top of the UK charts and reached the top 10 in the US. Jagger's talents extended beyond music. During the band's peak years, he dabbled in acting, starring in the films Ned Kelly and Performance. Though these early ventures didn't leave a lasting impact on cinema, Jagger returned to film decades later in a different capacity. As a producer, he contributed to projects like The Women and Get On Up, the biographical story of James Brown. But perhaps the most surprising turn in Jagger's career was his acceptance of a knighthood in 2003. The former anti-establishment rebel, once arrested for drug offenses, was now Sir Michael Jagger, honored by Prince Charles. But behind the bestowing of this prestigious honor was a hidden feud with the reigning monarch herself, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen reportedly disapproved of Jagger, finding him a most unsuitable candidate for knighthood. Her disapproval stemmed from several factors, including his perceived lack of respect for the monarchy and his close association with her sister, Princess Margaret. Additionally, Prime Minister Tony Blair's attempts to add Jagger to the prestigious honor list were repeatedly blocked by the Queen. Jagger's anti-establishment views certainly didn't help his cause. He openly expressed his support for anarchy and even dubbed Queen Elizabeth the Chief Witch. In a twist of fate, or perhaps a well-timed royal absence, Jagger ultimately received his knighthood from Prince Charles. Queen Elizabeth, it seems, conveniently underwent a scheduled knee surgery on the very same day. Rumor has it that she even remarked that she'd rather be in the hospital than honoring a certain party at Buckingham Palace. The very Queen who refused to honor him was eventually forced to accept that Sir MC Jagger was a force to be reckoned with, whether she liked it or not. While his rock star image may suggest a carefree bachelor lifestyle, Jagger's personal life has been marked by significant relationships and a large family. He has been married once, has 8 children with 5 women, as well as grandchildren and great-grandchildren. His first serious relationship was with Cleo Sylvester. He then dated Chrissy Shrimpton in the early 1960s, followed by a tumultuous and influential relationship with singer Marianne Faithfull. Faithfull, a singer with striking beauty and a captivating voice, was a prominent figure in the London music scene. Their relationship was marked by a shared love of music and a deep yet tempestuous bond. Together they even